Every year around February, little girls in green uniforms stand outside of supermarkets, home improvement stores, and shopping malls to sell some of the most addictive substances known to mankind. Girl Scout Thin Mints. Addictions always start out with pain. Pain from rejection, abuse, neglect, abandonment, loss. Addiction is defined as using any substance or any behavior to numb pain. And that behavior cannot be stopped even in light of serious consequences, and because of such, life eventually becomes unmanageable as a result. Many people are addicted to those delectable chocolate pieces of heaven. This is a story of one of those people. Scott was introduced to Thin Mints at a very young age. By the time he was a teenager, he was a frequent partaker of the cookies. Sometimes, late at night, he would eat entire bags full. When he didn't make the cut for the high school football team, he ate Thin Mints. When his girlfriend broke up with him, he ate Thin Mints. He would ask his mother to buy cases of them so he could store them under his bed. He would try to save them so he wouldn't run out before they were back on the market again. As he got older, Scott would buy his own cases of crispy, minty cookies. In college, when he struggled in a class, he would break out a bag of Thin Mints and devour them with delight. One day, Scott failed a test. He hadn't really studied for it, nor was he prepared, but he was very disappointed in himself. He reached in his backpack to pull out the clear, wrappered, neatly stacked chocolate dreams. To his horror, he had eaten his last box before the test. Scott was distraught. He had failed the test, and his drug of choice wasn't available. Scott began to imagine what it would be like if he could have just one more bite. His mouth watered as he fantasized about slowly placing the Thin Mint on his tongue and crunching down as the cookie crumbled into delectable chocolate pieces. Scott was in fantasy stage of the addiction cycle. Scott determined that he needed another box of Thin Mints and began making plans on how he was going to get another case. Luckily, it was February. Scott left campus, got in his car, and began driving around the town looking for banners, signs, or displays of Girl Scout cookies for sale. He finally found some at a local box store. Cute little girls with their leader moms smiling, asking everyone who went in and out of the store if they wanted to buy some cookies were standing there. He bought a case of Thin Mints. He would have purchased two, but they didn't have any more. As soon as he got back to his car, he tore open the box. He had a certain way of eating the scrumptious chocolate wafers. First, he would open the box and slowly slide both cylinders of the wrapped goodness, letting them drop onto his lap. Then he would slowly open one package and breathe in the aroma of the crisp mint chocolate. Scott had moved from fantasy stage to ritual phase. Then slowly he would take a wafer and place it in his mouth. It would start to melt slowly on his tongue before he would bite down, enjoying the crunch. His sense of failure crumbled along with the cookie. Within 2 minutes, he'd eaten both packages. Scott had moved from ritual phase to acting out. He felt sick afterwards. He looked down at the empty wrappers and the case of cookies in the front seat. A wave of guilt suddenly hit. He knew how many calories he had just eaten. He knew that he was trying to be more healthy. He knew that he had told himself 100 times that he wasn't going to do that anymore. His sense of failure returned twice as intensely as before, and now he was back at the top of the cycle, feeling pain. If Scott didn't do something different, he was going to go around the cycle again and again and again. He needed a plan. The next time a feeling of failure washed over him, instead of moving into preoccupation, he could take a stand. STAND isn't an acronym. Stop and take a breath. When he starts to feel that painful feeling, he can stop for a minute and just breathe. Breathing in and out, and then taking an inventory on what he is feeling, checking in with himself to figure out what it is that I am feeling right now. Am I sad, disappointed, angry, frustrated? What wounds are being stirred up for me? And then asking himself, what do I need? As he begins to take a look at the feeling of disappointment, and he asks himself, what is it that I need? He realizes that what he needs is some reassurance that the world is going to be okay, that he is okay even though he failed a test. He needed some reassurance that failing one test isn't going to ruin his life, and that he can always do some other things to make things better. Then he can do something different. He can reach out and ask for what he needs. He could call a friend. He could pick up the phone and call his parents. He could go to a 12-step meeting for Thin Mint addicts. He could write down what it is that he's feeling and write a letter to himself that's compassionate and say, it's going to be okay, don't give up. He could try all of those things and many others. And as he does so, he begins to take care of that wound that he's been in. He soothes the emotions and finds a healthier way to deal with them than going around the hamster wheel of the addiction cycle.